Pass Around the Smile is like your go-to friend, the one that lifts you up and backs you till the end. She's there to guide and inspire, challenge and teach, and remind you that your best self isn't out of reach. Self-development, manifestation, self-love and more, it's time to trust the process more than ever before. Welcome to Pass Around the Smile, the podcast. I'm your host, Cleo Massey, and I am so glad you're here. Let the magic begin. Hello and welcome back to the Pass Around the Smile podcast. I am so excited about this episode because it's all about listening to your heart. And I've got to be honest, when I first started diving into these self-development topics and working on my own kind of manifestation journey, I always thought listening to your heart, it's such a naff topic. Like, it's just so cliche. We all listen to our heart. We know how to listen to our heart. They say it all the time. And it's like, it's just felt a little bit boring to me until I realized that I thought I was listening to my heart and I absolutely wasn't. And that there are so many reasons that we can think we are listening to our heart, but we're not. And there's so many reasons where we can have these kind of blocks that stop us from listening to our heart. And it is so crazy when you do successfully tune in, quiet the outside world and listen to your heart, what happens and how quickly it can happen. And I can guarantee, like myself, there are some areas in my life now where I do know how to tune in and listen to my heart, but there are still a lot of areas where I'm working on completely quietening that outside noise and being able to tune in and listen to my heart and take the right path that is in alignment with me and what I want and who I am. So it's a really exciting topic and it really can unfold a lot of exciting things for you, exciting thoughts, aha moments, realizations, and you can do that through simply listening to this podcast or meditating, doing a listening to your heart meditation, which I have one of those on my website, and you can do it through journaling as well. But today we are just going to have a conversation about how to actually successfully listen to your heart and what might be blocking you from tuning in to what your heart is actually saying. And so often our heart, I don't know, it can be a little bit tricky. Like, so many times I 100% thought that I was listening to my heart, but I was tricking myself into believing I was listening to my heart because it's what I wanted or because it's what I felt was right. But what I felt was right wasn't actually in tune with what my heart wanted, which is interesting. So I want to start with a little story which kind of links into the whole listening to your heart theme of this episode. And I'm telling this story on a whim because it has only just happened. So an order just came through on my Pass Around the Smile store, right? And what I have noticed is in the last couple of weeks, if I am recording a podcast or when I was in the last 2 weeks practicing a segment for a Pass Around the Smile event that I was doing, orders would just come in. There was one time like 2 weeks ago, I was practicing this segment and I was feeling so good and I was really enjoying talking about, what I talk about with Pass Around the Smile, and I was just really getting into the flow of practicing and enjoying it. 3 orders came through in the space of a minute, and that's really, really rare for me. And what I realized in that moment was how powerful doing what you know is right for you, doing what is in alignment for you, when you finally listen to your heart and do that thing, the universe will congratulate you. The universe will reward you. In the last few weeks, I have been a little up and down. I've been doing things that are out of alignment for me. And there's nothing big that we need to talk about, but just little things here and there where I'm like, this doesn't really feel right, or this feels forced, or why am I feeling negative when I'm doing this thing? And I realized just because right in that moment, they're not meant for me. It's not in alignment with where I'm going, with what I'm wanting. However, when I'm recording a podcast like right now and the order comes through, or when I was practicing that segment and 3 orders came through in the space of a minute, it's a reminder that, Cleo, you are vibrating so high right now and you are making it so possible to attract these incredible things like orders on your store so you can help share the love and positivity that you love sharing. So a reminder, when you are living in alignment, it will feel right and good things will begin to happen and unfold for you without you trying, because you're vibrating so high. You're going with the flow. You're loving what you're doing. You are honoring yourself, and you are also listening to your higher powers by going, I hear you. I'm going to give this a go, and I'm going to trust that this could be meant for me, and I'm just going to enjoy the process. And that's what I'm feeling more into, doing more of the things that make me feel good. Not only because they make me feel good in the moment and I'm honoring myself, but because I know good things come from it. I'm really excited to see, as I keep recording this podcast, if more orders come through, because now I'm just like, oh, I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting miracles. Maybe a good email will come through. We can allow ourselves to be on that frequency of expecting good things. Accept the good, you deserve it. Reject the bad, you deserve more. That's on one of my positive guidance cards, and I love it because it's a reminder that we can expect good things, because of course we deserve good things. And when we expect good things, we see good things for ourselves. And when we are seeing good things for ourselves, we are attracting good things for ourselves, because what we put out, we get back. It's like Wayne Dyer's quote, everything that was once imagined now exists, which means that everything that will exist is now being imagined. Use your imagination to create your reality. Is that not just the most exciting quote you've ever heard? I think I've shared it on this podcast before, but I just love it. And it really goes to show you get to create your desires. And you get to create your desires so easily and so powerfully when you are in that state of alignment. So this episode is going to help you understand, what is alignment for you? What does your heart desire? What do you need to do to step onto that right path and to be vibrating so effortlessly high all the time that these good things do happen? It's so crazy, like how I said, those orders came through and then they are coming through now. I also find it when I'm completely surrendering. So if I'm with my friends and I'm just really thankful and I'm enjoying, a lunch out or something, I will always see like a good email come through or orders come through, because I am essentially going like, I'm just happy where I am, universe. I'm enjoying my life. I'm vibrating high, and I'm letting you bring to me what is supposed to come to me. So just a little like uplifting story to get us started. The heart knows things the mind cannot explain. So often we are desperate to know answers and what's next. And that's where our mind does kick in. And our mind thinks that it does know the answers, but often the mind doesn't have an explanation for those answers. And that's why those answers often aren't the right answers for us. But our logical mind is saying, no, this is the cheaper way, or this is the safer way. But what is our heart saying? It's so hard to quiet that outside noise that says, this is the cheaper, the safer option, the easier option. This is the option that's going to have you finish your studies earlier, or this is the option that society says, you should be here at this age or doing this at that time. So it's really hard to quiet that outside noise and actually think, but what do I want? I have so many times where I have really struggled to differentiate what my heart is saying versus the fear I'm feeling. For example, I told you guys the story about the 5-cent pieces I was finding when I was going over for my 3rd trip to LA. And what I was really struggling with in that story was actually listening into the voice of fear or the voice of my heart. So it did end up being fear, and my heart was saying go. But how hard is that to go, well, is my heart saying this is unsafe? Is my heart saying that this is not right for me? Or is it just my fearing the long flight, fearing if I'll run out of money, fearing if I won't get the roles over there, fearing that I'll miss my family? So that was really, really hard to identify. But the way that I was finally able to do it was through journaling, meditation, and asking for those signs. And I tell you what, that sign could not have been more clear. And if you missed that podcast, I can't even remember what it's called, but I will pop it in the show notes. It was one of the last few. And don't be afraid to ask for signs, and allow your higher powers to work alongside you and help you listen to your heart. See, when we're fully in alignment, that's when listening to our heart becomes natural. But when we're not in alignment, it's so hard to actually identify what our heart is saying. And this can be confused by other people's expectations or suggestions. And as I mentioned before, a big one is society's expectations. Like, do you actually want to find a partner and get married right now, or is society telling you that you should? Is your heart actually saying, no, go and travel and be by yourself and meet new friends? And maybe through that way, you will meet the love of your life. But maybe right now, popping yourself on the dating apps isn't what is meant for you right now. But the only person that can know is you. And this can be frustrating and exciting to hear. But I'm telling you, the only person who can listen to your heart and can tell you what is up is you. It can be frustrating because you might be thinking, no, Cleo, I have tried. I cannot tune in and listen to my heart. I don't know if I want love right now. I don't know if I want to travel. I don't know what my next career move is. I don't know what my life purpose is. I don't even know what I enjoy. And I hear you. I have been there before in the life purpose sense and I've talked to you guys about it before, where I was just so confused because I was forcing something that wasn't meant to be for me. But it didn't make sense that it wasn't meant to be for me because all of the signs were saying that acting was meant for me. But it wasn't until I tuned in, listened to my heart, and gave up that control that life started to flow with me and opportunities started to open up. And now looking back, it's so crazy and so cool to see the pathway that the universe had sorted out for me. Now where I'm back doing little acting roles that I really enjoy and that fill me up in a different way that I had ever expected. We've got to trust the process. And trusting the process also means trusting yourself. And trusting yourself means learning to tune in and listen to your heart. So how do we do it when there's so much outside noise and expectation? Because that can be a trick, and it can be a trick of opportunity where our heart is telling us to take an opportunity, but the fear is coming in of a protective mechanism where, no, you will lose the money if you invest in that, opening a new store. Or your fear is coming in that, no, if you give your heart to this person, that it's going to break or you're going to lose it, whatever the fear is. But what is exciting is that you actually do have the answer, and you do have it right now. That's why I say that the kind of term of only you can listen to your heart and only you have the answer can be somewhat frustrating and exciting at the same time. Frustrating because you might be going, no, I don't have the answer, but exciting because I'm telling you that you do, which means that you could unlock this answer any minute, and you have the power to. You absolutely do. So very often and very naturally, we will seek externally for answers. So things like we'll book into psychics or spiritual healers. We'll do a quiz online to tell us who the love of our life is, or where we should travel to next, what our life purpose is. And this is so normal. And I'm not saying to stop these things completely. Absolutely not, because these things can bring us peace and joy. But what I'm saying is, you want to be strong enough in yourself. You want to know exactly what it is that you want and need that makes you happy, to be open to taking this advice and these signs, I guess, in the right way. Because if we are in a vulnerable state, if we are really confused and unsure of what we want, who we are, then we can take this external validation or the things that people are saying, whether they are like a professional or whether they're a healer or whether it is family or friends telling us a certain thing, we can take it in the wrong way. So what do you want? What lights you up? What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What do you know would make you feel so proud if you completed? You can start answering these questions in your journal and just get closer to the version of you that you want to be. When we get closer to this version, not only are we more alert to the opportunities and to the signs that are being presented to us, we are also in a better position to take advice from others. Because you do want to trust that what is coming to you, whether it's through another person or whether it's through your meditations or your card readings or your journaling, that these signs and these ideas are being put on your heart for a reason and are coming to you for a reason. So when you are in a strong state of mind and you know what you do and don't want and you know what you deserve, that is when you can take these signs and opportunities and turn them into absolute magic. So back in the day where I was feeling really, really stuck, I was really confused about why things weren't working for me with acting. I knew there was something bigger for me and something closer to my purpose for me, but I honestly, hand on my heart, had no idea what it was. And I constantly felt so empty and so frustrated, so unfulfilled in trying to find these answers. And I remember going to so many different psychics and asking other people. And what I really needed to do was, take little bits of advice that I was hearing along the way, but implement it in a way that was right for me. And I wasn't able to implement it until I shut out that outside noise and actually listened to my heart. And how I did that was through lots of journaling and through listen to your heart meditations. So through this meditation once, I saw this vision of me. And this is before Pass Around the Smile, the blog was born. This is before anything Pass Around the Smile, anything where I had spoke at events or written about the law of attraction, anything like that. I had this vision come to me in a meditation, and I was sitting in a candlelit room, and there was a whole bunch of people sitting down comfy on cushions, and I was talking to them. And I saw this vision, and I remember coming out of the meditation, and I wrote it down because I was trying to trust the process and I was trying to find answers. But I was so confused. I was like, what is this room? Why are there candles? Why am I speaking to these people? What is going on here? Fast forward. That is like my life now. These are my events, a candlelit room, me speaking to people. Like, I can't believe it. Looking back, the sign was there. But I had to open my heart to receive this guidance. That's the thing. Not only when we journal and meditate do we want to quiet the outside noise and quiet our mind to tune in and listen to our heart, we also need to open our heart up to receive. Because if our heart is shut off, we're not going to allow it to be heard. So you need to let your guard down. You need to open your heart up to love. And if you're struggling with that, you can also do a heart chakra meditation and focus on a beautiful green and vibrant light kind of circulating in your heart area. Also, you might find it really natural to listen to your heart in some areas of your life, but other areas in your life you really struggle. So whether you have some areas that you're good at and you're in tune with, or you have no areas in your life at the moment that you feel in tune with and you're really struggling to listen to your heart, this is a kind of fun exercise that you can do. So you can step into the person that you want to be right now. Now, I'm not saying go and be someone else. I'm saying step into the version of you that has something that you are curious about. Something that you are curious is this thing meant for me? Well, is this my life purpose? Is this actually going to fill me up? I'm not sure. So step into the version of you that has that job, or that has that certain friend, that has that certain news delivered to them. Step into the person that you are, if that was your reality, and check in with how you feel. Do you feel proud? Do you feel giddy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel fulfilled? Or do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel unsure? Do you feel really foggy and unclear? And this will help you start to unpack what your heart is saying. Because as I mentioned before, your heart knows things that your mind can't explain. We have to get rid of that logical part of our mind that says, well, this is probably the better option because it's safer, cheaper, easier. Your parents expected it of you. Oh, you should probably do this option because you studied it at uni. You should probably do this option because it's going to make you really rich. They are not reasons that you should follow a certain path. What is your heart saying? When we do receive these answers, right, whether we receive those answers from our own work through meditation or journaling, whether we receive them through a card reading, which we're doing ourselves, which is still our own work, but it's the kind of universe and your higher powers speaking through you, or whether you do receive these messages and guidance, advice from people that you love or professionals or healers, it is then up to you to do the work. It's then up to you to take that idea and go with it. or to open your heart to receive and to surrender moving forward in a certain direction. It is up to you. Again, frustrating, but also exciting to hear. You have the answers. It is such a beautiful and refreshing phase to be in when you finally listen to your heart, because honestly, everything will flow. And it's just the same as like giving up that control, right? I know I've said in other episodes, when you give up that need to control, that's when everything flows. When you surrender, let go, and trust the process, that's when everything flows. Well, listening to your heart is trusting the process because you are trusting yourself. So it actually all starts with listening to your heart. Because if you're not listening to your heart, how are you supposed to trust the process and let go? If your heart is saying something else, then it's not going to align. Our heart only can see through love and empathy, and it can only feel through love and empathy as well. So another little block that you could maybe be experiencing in listening to your heart. So let's say that you are trying to manifest something, or you're trying to work towards something because you are trying to prove something to someone, or you are trying to one-up someone else, or you are working through comparison, you're trying to get ahead, or you're working through, a competitive nature. I can guarantee your heart will not be in alignment with what you are trying to achieve in that moment if it is backed by those things, or if you are just trying to prove a point, or even if you're trying to be a little bit vindictive because you've been hurt in the past. Our heart, love and empathy, and love and hate cannot coexist. So if you are trying to manifest something for the wrong reasons, it's not going to work out because your heart is saying otherwise. And that can be another kind of way to identify, well, is what I'm asking for the highest good for all? Is it good for me? Is it good for my family? Is it going to benefit everyone? And I'm not saying it has to directly benefit everyone else, but if it's going to benefit you in a happy, beautiful, and loving way, then of course it's going to benefit those around you in a happy, beautiful, loving way. I think we'll finish that episode there. So just to go over how I finally tuned in and listened to my heart, it really was through journaling things that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, asking myself the questions that I wouldn't normally. So if that means grabbing journal prompts from someone else, do that. I have journal prompts. There are journal prompts you can find online. TikTok actually has some good journal prompts as well. Meditation, huge. To actually quiet your mind, and please be patient with yourself. For so long, I was meditating on the purpose of listening to my heart, and it wasn't working. I couldn't quiet my mind from like thinking about what I was going to eat for dinner, or what that person said to me last week, or, oh, I need to send that email. When I finally got past that, it wasn't like, oh, straight away I can listen to my heart either. When I got past that, it was, oh, I am actually sitting in this really still place in my mind. And then when I practiced a little further, that was when I could actually tune in to the energy of my heart and go, wow, I actually am craving this. I actually want this. I actually want that, and I need that. So it's really exciting, but it does take practice. And I'm not saying this is going to be months and months and months of work. It could happen in a few weeks, but just give yourself the time that you need. It's different for everyone, but meditation is so powerful. And I really recommend too, when you come out of that meditation and you're feeling kind of like airy-fairy and you're like, whoa, what did I just experience? Make sure that you're writing everything down, but then do a card reading. I will always follow my meditations with a card reading because I believe that I'm in this state of connection where I'm connecting to my higher self. I'm connecting to my higher powers. So when I'm asking my cards, what I just saw in this meditation, is this right for me? And I'll pull cards that usually tell me that absolutely yes. Or it will even give me another creative idea which I can stem on top of what I just saw in my meditation. Or I might ask my cards, I need clarity. I saw, these colors, and then I saw this particular person, and I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what my heart is saying right now, but I'm trusting that this idea was put on my heart for a reason. So cards, can you give me some clarity? And I'll always get that clarity. I hope you loved this episode, guys. Thank you so much. And just a reminder that anyone can post in my Facebook community any questions, any stories, anything. We love to hear it and we love supporting each other. So thank you. I hope you have a beautiful week, and let's start to tune in and listen to our heart and allow the good times to flow.